All right, well, welcome everybody back to the Everything Real Estate Show. Today, I have a really special episode. We have 3 guests on the show, 2 generations. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. And I think one of the coolest takeaways that you'll get from this conversation is what it's like being in business, not even just in real estate, but this one is specifically focused around real estate. But what it's like being in business with your spouse and what it's like being in business with your family and all the dynamics. So today we have the Standel and the Maroon families on with us. We got Randy, Sue, and Eric. The only one we're missing from the whole team of Next Gen Real Estate here at Century 21 Local Home Team is Erica, and we only got so many seats, but it's a great conversation, and I can't wait to bring it all to you. I think you'll get a lot out of it. Enjoy. My name is Cody Kraus, and I'm a real estate broker owner that's obsessed with everything real estate. Investing, building, selling, developing, farming, you name it. I've been doing this since I was 18 years old, and I've learned a ton through trial and error, and I've met some of the coolest people ever. This is a show where I invite these people on to talk about their experiences and mine, plus everything else real estate. Let's go. Well, welcome back to the Everything Real Estate Show. Today we got a really cool episode for you, and we're actually going to be changing the guest set partway through the interview. So today I have with me 3 guests on the show, and it's Randy and Eric Standel and Susan Maroon. And we're going to be talking about a multi-generational business, doing business with your spouse, sales careers that span over 3 decades, family dynamics when you're involved with family and business, and so much more. So it's going to be a really interesting conversation today. And I'm excited for it. So without further ado, I don't know if I should introduce you both separately or as a couple. Excuse me. But why don't you two, I guess, take it however you will. Who is Randy and who is Sue? Who are the Standells and Maroons?
Susan Maroon, been married to Randy or been together for, I guess, 21 years. And 5 kids between us.
Yep, busy house.
Busy.
How many grandkids?
5 grandchildren.
Okay.
Yes, we are very family-oriented. Brought our kids, 2 of our children, into the business as well. And Randy started with his mom. Well, actually, I started, I'll be 30 years in June. This is my 30th anniversary.
Awesome.
And I started out in banking.
Okay.
And finished up in mortgages. I was a mortgage officer with one of our big 5 banks. So I had a pretty good background in...
So you understood the finance side of it when you were getting into real estate sales.
But real estate was just so... I just loved it so much. I just wanted more and more and more. So I had my 3rd child, Erica, who's also in the business. And while I was home with her on maternity leave, I got licensed.
Oh, cool. I'm going to come back to that more. I'm proud why you love it so much because you have a huge smile on your face talking about it, even after 3 decades. So we'll pry on that a little bit more.
Hi, I'm Randy Standel. Been in the business, it'll be 33 years this year. Hard to believe. I started out, I worked on the line at one of the big 3 for 35 years, but I've been selling real estate for 33. Went to school with my mom. We got our license together, which was kind of cool, and we were partners for probably about 20 years. And then she retired from the business, and unfortunately she's passed away. But Pat Baines was my mom, and she was in the business with me and loved it. I love it. I don't consider real estate as a job where a lot of people do. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the people. I enjoy just everything about it. And bringing my family, having my wife beside me doing it is awesome. And then now the kids, and now joining together as a company together, just it's very rewarding.
Cool. Well, I love that.
Tearing up.
I love that you guys have such big smiles on your faces talking about it. Like 30 years and 33 years in the business, and to say that like you honestly love what you do, that's pretty cool. So I want to pry into that a little bit more and figure out why you guys love it so much. One thing I will say, so I've been in the business now 14-ish years, something like that. I started in 2011, and I can tell you that from the first time that I talked to Randy, and Randy and I have dealt with a number of properties over the years, a lot of times people that have been in the business a long time get really bothered by the young people that come in and the dumb mistakes that they make and the bad questions that they ask. And I always felt that Randy was a guy who was always willing to take my call. He was totally open to explaining to me how things worked, and he treated me like an equal from day one, and you don't always get that. So hats off to you, Randy. I I know that you've been very graceful with a lot of the agents over the years, and it's pretty cool because I talk to a lot of realtors, both within our company and outside of our company, and the two of you certainly have a reputation where you basically have no bad relationships with anybody in the industry. You're very, very well respected, and I think a lot of that's due to obviously who you are, but obviously because you love what you do. And so if you were to all of a sudden sour relationships in the business, you're not going to love as much what you do as much every day, right? So
100%.
it's pretty cool to see that at work. Okay, so 30 years, 33 years. Heard a little bit about Sue. You know, I was in mortgages. Loved the real estate side of it. That prompted me to get my license. Randy, you know, got licensed with mom. We started in it. What did you first initially, what was the lure or the allure of getting into real estate and as a sales career? And then what has that transformed into? Why do you still love it today? Because I would imagine that why you got into it and why you're still in it today, they might be different or they might be the same.
That's a good question. When I was working at the big three, I always wanted something more. Like working on the line was just not something that, like, I didn't mind it, but I wanted something more. So I was either going to get into management, or my mom came along. She was in sales for many, many years, and the company that she worked at ended up closing up. So she was looking for something to do, and Z Maletic actually approached her. She was good friends with Z and said, you know, why don't you get your real estate license?
Yep.
So she came to me and she asked me, she said, well, do you want to get your real estate license? Want to do it together? And I thought, you know what? Yeah, it's something that, because I really enjoy being around people, and, you know, I like the whole, you know, helping people out. I'm not selling them life insurance. I'm selling them a house that they can, you know, I can go back in 5 years and have a drink with them and they're still happy. And so I said, yeah, let's do it. And we did it. And I loved it from day one. My mom loved it. And we have been very lucky, very successful. We had a great clientele that just kind of has, you know, helped us along. Now we're getting grandkids, and, you know, if grandma or grandpa passes away, we get an estate sale. It's really transitioned into, like, they're really not clients. Most of them are all friends.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing. So, and it just, I just love it. Like I said, everybody says, well, why don't you retire? And I said, it's not a job to me. It's something I enjoy doing, you know?
That's awesome.
So,
yeah. So, I guess part of it was opportunity from your mom. Someone said, you know what, you guys would probably be good at this. Why don't you take a look at it? She had a background in sales. So you said, yeah, I'm looking for something more, maybe want to feel a little bit more fulfilled in what I do. And it's obvious that you guys are both very, very personable people and you care about people. It's not a job now. It's something that you enjoy. Is it still the people?
yeah, I think it's mostly just the people, and being able to take care of them and watching the smiles on their face when you sell them a nice house, their dream home, or you sell their home, and you get them a top dollar that they're just, and it's very rewarding to me.
Yeah.
Just, I enjoy that aspect of it the most.
So it's not even the sales part that gets you fired up.
Yeah.
It's
I think it's
just,
the relationships, right? The relationships that we've built over the years. Like, just, you know, in the last 2 weeks, we've sold 2 young couples a home, and both times the parents have texted me and thanked me. The parents were our clients, right? And
Yep.
then they've referred their children. And both parents text and said, you know, thank you so much for looking after our kids. And
isn't that awesome?
yeah, it is. It's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling. So it really is about relationships.
Now you mentioned that a lot of your friends are your clients. Curious, and the answer might be both, but was it they were friends first and then they became our clients, or did they end up becoming friends through working together?
Clients then friends.
Yeah, well, a lot of them. I would
Yeah.
say a majority of them were clients, like maybe were referred to us and then became family and friends to us. Like,
Yeah.
we go on vacation with them. You know, we get invited to their kids' weddings. Like, it's just, it's awesome.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, I find that often we get invited into really like high emotion scenarios, and sometimes it's good emotions. You know, hey, you know, we're pregnant with baby number 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. Or it might be, unfortunately, you know, so and so was having an affair, or someone passed, or like it seems like there's no medium, right? We're getting called into death and divorce, or we're getting called into, you know, growing family, job promotion. Like there's so many different scenarios that we're coming into. And it's interesting because I find that people put a lot of trust in us. So I like that you said it's about the people. It's not about the sales part of it. I find that we're often getting called to the table before they've told their family. that they're expecting, or before they've told their family that they're going to have to move away for work. They're trusting us with like a huge amount of information. The asset, sure, that's another big thing too, because it's a good chunk of their life savings, or maybe almost all of their net worth is often in their house. So they're trusting us with that. And I wonder if maybe that's the reason that it evolves into such a deeper relationship, because they, were vulnerable with us when they invited us to the table. They're letting us know what their financial scenario is. They're trusting us with the sale of their home. And it's not, selling their car, or managing an investment scenario, or strategy or something like that. It's, this is where we watched our kids grow up, right? Or this is where we want to put the pool in so we can have the grandkids over and all that kind of stuff. So I wonder if it's because it was such a high emotion scenario that we often get brought into, if that deepened the relationship right from the get-go.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. But a lot of them now we're finding a lot of them are just, some of the, like the kids, they look to us like we're mom and dad, like, because we take care of them like they're our own kids. Like, we want to make sure they get the right house and, the right area. And we don't want to be selling them something and, a year down the road, they say this is a terrible area, we're not happy and whatever. We make sure that if it was our kids buying that house, we would sell them that house in that area. If Sue is she'll walk in a house and she'll just say to them, this isn't for you, whether they like it or not. And that's just the way she is. She says, you're not buying this house. You're not buying this house. And
yeah. If it's something that I wouldn't sell my own, a young couple that I wouldn't sell to my own kids,
then you're going to tell them. Yeah. So you're going to take that mom approach and
sometimes
put your foot down.
I could be maybe too honest, but getting back to, I feel that if you make real estate only about sales and not about relationships, you're going to have a very short career.
Yeah. Yeah. Or it's not going to be enjoyable even if it is long. No. Right. There's something here, a dynamic that's at play that I'm pretty jealous of. So you guys as a married couple, I sense that you really are best friends. You're not just husband and wife. Like the other day, I forget who was leaving our meeting early. I think Sue was leaving the meeting early. And, you guys just gave each other a quick kiss in front of the office. And I'm like, how cool is that? Like 21 years of marriage here, we still miss each other when they walk out of the room and all that kind of stuff. So I guess something I want to push on here is that, like, maybe work isn't work to you guys because you get to do it with your best friend all day, every day. Like, do you feel guilty about, taking an evening or a weekend work appointment when you get to go do it with your best friend? And maybe there's a downside to this too, and I'm only looking at the really, I guess, cool side of it, that you get to work with your best friend and your spouse all day. So if you end up taking more appointments and working too much, I say that with quotation marks, it's okay because you did it with your wife anyway. So you weren't really neglecting your family in a sense, right? Can you speak to that maybe a little bit, the spousal element of being business partners and husband and wife?
Yeah, I think it's really a cool thing because she understands the whole business, where, my previous marriage, she didn't understand. And when I was out a lot, it's hard on the dynamics of a family when you're raising young kids. I had 2 kids I was raising, and, I was working at the big 3, plus I'm doing real estate. So I was on the go a lot. So now that we're together, it just it makes it easy. So if I can't do something, she can do it. If she can't do something, I can do it. Now we got our kids in the business. And so it just makes it easier for us to kind of, do things. And she understands, well, he's running late because he had a showing or he had to do an offer or whatever. And it's not like I'm feeling guilty because I'm getting home at 6 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. Right.
Yeah.
And and then there's bad days in this job sometimes. And it's nice to be able to bounce it off her and say, listen, I'm stressed out because, this deal is not going the way we wanted to go or whatever. And she says, well, it'll work out, and kind of give you the old, help you out a little bit, where if I didn't have a spouse that was in the business, they don't understand it. It's hard for them to understand what we're going through. So I really appreciate that fact that we can bounce stuff off each other and enjoy the business with each other, because we both still enjoy the business. So it's kind of nice, and we are best friends. And
yeah. I think we, I can say with confidence that we have a very, very good hold on that part of it.
Yeah.
On that part of our life. We, if it's a Friday night showing, then it's a Friday night showing at 5 o'clock, and then we'll go for dinner at Spa Goes at 6:30.
Turn it into a date night.
Right?
Love it.
We have a very good hold on that part. Randy wakes up every morning looking for a job. Every single morning. Like he works at working, I guess.
Love it.
Right? And I don't know if he feels unemployed every day when he gets up in the morning or what, but he will find a job to do. And I like that about him, right? I like his work ethic. It's very, very strong.
Self-starter,
Yes.
obviously got to be doing something all the time.
Yep. And he's set a very, very good example for Eric and Erica and actually all our kids.
Cool. I was laughing when Randy was talking just because I'm like, well, sometimes like you just want to get out the door, and it's not to like get away from your spouse, but sometimes it's like, man, the kids are driving you nuts and you just want to run out the door and go to work and be at work instead of, but I'm like, there's no escaping, right? If you guys are going out to work, you're going to work at the same place. So even if you were having like a bit of an argument around the coffee maker in the morning, it's not like you can run away to work and escape your problems, right? It's going to be like, well, Sue's behind me in traffic and we're going to see each other in 5 minutes again.
Might be a little quiet at the office, but we still make it there together and enjoy the time we spend together. So that's lucky. We're lucky about that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, maybe I might even have more questions coming into that too. One thing that's kind of funny is you guys are a total package deal, right? So if I call Sue and I say, hey, Sue, can you come list my house? I'm going to get both of you maybe at the first meeting or at every meeting, or to alternate back and forth. Like even on your signs, you don't even have your own signs. It's always Randy on one side and Sue on the other, right? What kind of a benefit does that play out to your clients? Do they think it's pretty awesome getting a package deal where I'm hiring one realtor, or I'm hiring two for the price of one, and the dynamic that plays off you guys? Like, do you have altering opinions? Like I was witnessing a bit of an appointment that you guys were doing the other day with a home builder, and they were asking, questions about cabinetry installation. And it was kind of interesting because you guys had totally different dynamics, and Randy may be coming across as business-wise, this is the decision I would make, cost-wise, quality-wise, all that kind of stuff. And then Sue, I kind of heard come into it with, this is the kitchen that you want to put in, because the kitchen is, the most important part of the home, and it's what the family's going to take pride in. They're going to spend all their time there. And there wasn't pros and cons, but it was interesting that we got both dynamics of it. So how do your clients, receive that?
I think they receive it well. We don't hide it. I explain to people that, two individuals, two different realtors, you may get two different opinions.
Yep.
Sometimes you might get the same opinion, but often you might get two very different opinions.
But we're a package deal all the time.
We are a package deal. And that could be in home building, that could be in value, what we want you to pay, what I think a home is worth and what he thinks a home is worth. I don't want to say clash sometimes, but sometimes there is a different opinion.
Healthy disagreement.
Yeah. And it's nothing that we hide from our clients. I am, open about it and saying, two different people, two different opinions.
And I think they appreciate that. If we're both being honest on what we think, and, because we're not always going to have the same opinion. It's going to be, real estate is, there's gray areas, right? There's, so what she thinks it's worth and what I think it's worth. And we just, at the end of the day, it's the client's decision on what they want to do and how they want to do it. We just give them our advice. Most of the time we're on the same page, but there's a few times where we're kind of different, but
where I need to change his mind.
but the clients, I think, really like the fact that they get 2 for 1, because on the sign, I'm on one side, she's on the other side, and they, it's funny. They say, "Oh, how come? Where's your sign?" I go, "It's on your lawn." "Well, it says Susan." I said, "Yeah, but I'm on the other side." So, some of them didn't notice it, but then they say, "Oh, okay, there it is." And it's the way it's been since we've been partners for 14 years now. We've been together doing the real estate. So it's just like we're one.
Yeah.
So when you call us, it's Randy and Sue, or Sue and Randy, and they get 2 for the price of 1. So, and now with the kids coming in, we're making it kind of like you're getting 4 for 1, which is kind of cool.
Now, do we have to set fences, like, hey, we're going on a date night tonight and we are not talking about work? Or is it just like everything blends into everything? Or is it even like we have to make sure that we talk about work on our date night tonight because we can't write off our dinner as a business meeting if we didn't talk about real estate? Like, where do you draw the line? Or is there no line? It's just part of life.
Yeah, it's part of life. Yeah. It's part of life. There is no, if something needs to be said and it's real estate,
yep,
then it's said. There's no.
So we can write off every meal then. It's always,
That sounds good. I haven't been doing that. But
yeah, I need to say, even if we go on a trip, it's a business planning trip if we're traveling with our business partner, right? I don't know how the CRA would feel about that. Disclaimer, that is not financial advice. Talk to your accountant in
My
regards to that.
broker said.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of an interesting thing, how it's evolving. So really we're 3 generations now. So you were working with your mom. You guys got in the business together and your partnership. And now all of a sudden we have Erica and Eric in the business also. So we got, 2 Standells, 2 Maroons, 1 team all coming together. I love the name that you guys picked for your team, Team Next Gen. And it really is, I love it for so many reasons, right? It's progressive, it's adaptable,
Appropriate.
it's appropriate.
Yes.
It's exactly what's happening, right? The next generation of realtors, the next generation of clientele, the next generation of the family business, all that kind of stuff. So how do you see that evolving, and what benefits are you seeing from it? And I guess how is it, not only can you not escape your spouse at work, but you can't escape your kids at work either, right? So like, how does that work, office dynamics wise?
it's just cool. It's fun watching them grow. Like Eric's been in it a little longer than Erica, but he's already kind of established, and Erica's just kind of molding her way and getting established and starting to be successful. And it's kind of cool because you can just watch them growing and learning, and it's kind of nice. So we can pass the stuff down to them when we're ready to pack it in, which I don't know when that's going to be, but when we do pack it in, but you get us all 4 of us, and you get their ideas and being young. So we're learning from them. It's funny because when we got into this, we're thinking we're going to be teaching them, but when we have taught them a little bit, but we're learning more from them for, the, internet, the, all this social media stuff that Sue and I really never, I'm not saying never, we're not up to date like a lot of the younger people are. And so they're bringing us up to date on that and helping us through that. So we're learning from them. They're learning from us. And I love it. I love going to work and, seeing Erica and Eric with my wife at the Monday morning meetings. When you go to Monday morning meetings, it's awesome seeing the whole family there. And, so we just get to spend more time with them. And I love it. I think it's a great thing. So,
Yeah, it's funny going into the office and, kissing my kids good morning,
Yeah.
right?
Might have just seen him at dinner yesterday.
Yes.
I see a lot of you guys these days, but
I think the whole intention, though, when we started Next Gen was that we were going to mentor them.
yeah.
And I feel that it's kind of flip-flopped. I feel like I've learned so much from them,
Yeah.
especially Eric. Eric's, we call him a lot to bounce things off of him, or if, we're having some trouble with technology.
Yeah. Well, it's hard for someone younger to mentor someone older, right? So naturally it makes sense that you would take the mentorship role where, Dad, Mom, you've probably dealt with this 1,000 times over the years. Like something that doesn't change over time is ethics, right? Or negotiations. They really haven't changed much over time either. We still want 2 parties that feel like they won at the end of the day and all that kind of stuff. So that's something that's going to transcend time, technology, all that kind of stuff. And because you've, seen probably 2 boom markets and 2 correction cycles and all that kind of stuff, you've got experience from that side of it. But I mean, DocuSign, that only enters the marketplace once, right? Social media, sure, there's different channels and all that kind of stuff, but that's something new, and it's, obviously been introduced, and rapid learning has had to happen. So the fact that they can help you introduce that tool set, but then you can use your experience and draw on, your past experiences, that's huge.
yeah. And it's very, like I said, we're learning from them, they're learning from us, and the transition has been, since we joined the company in January, has been awesome, and looking forward to having, many more years of partnership with you, Cody, as well as with them, and just growing from there. So it's an awesome time for all of us. Right?
Yeah, it is. It really is.
We're so excited and humbled and happy to have you guys with us. And it's a pretty cool thing to watch. And we're excited for you. I think we should probably switch over to Eric soon. Any thoughts that you want to throw out there before we go to take 2, Sue?
Just to add what Randy just said, it was was a big transition for us.
Yep.
And but we're so happy. We're so pleased with how smoothly everything went, and we really feel privileged to be part of the Century 21 home team.
Cool. Well, like I said, we're so happy to have you guys. So why don't we do a cut here, and we'll bring Eric in and continue the conversation.
Sounds good.
So this is the first time where we've swapped out a guest partway through, and it'll be interesting to continue this conversation. So almost like starting the show back over. Now we got to introduce Eric to everybody. So who is Eric?
All right. Eric Standel, third generation realtor, like I've heard you guys talk about. Husband, father of 2 awesome kids. I've been doing this 14 years. I think we started about the same time, 2011.
Yep.
And I couldn't be happier. Yeah, it was a great decision. It almost felt easy. Like I remember, growing up, running around open houses that dad was having or nanny was having, and the business always just kind of felt natural. And
Watch dad do it, obviously.
yeah, it was just easy. It was easy to get into, and I haven't regretted it for a minute.
Cool. What do you love most about the business? Just because that was kind of the discussion that went with Sue and Randy there.
I mean, not to sound like a broken record, but the relationships, right? I mean, it's like you said, it doesn't feel like work. You get to talk with, even brand new clients that are, referrals to you, and you start talking to them and showing them houses. And it almost, I joke with people sometimes when we finally do find a house that they buy, I'm like, I'm going to miss you guys. Like
Yeah.
I enjoyed seeing you, 2 or 3 times a week when we were going through houses and writing offers and
Yep.
and meeting. And then, they buy a house and you're like, damn, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed seeing you guys this often, and the friendship and the jokes you would make back and forth, and you become comfortable with each other and watch that relationship and ultimately friendship
Yep.
grow. So it's the people, it's the relationships, it's the other realtors, right? You get those realtors on the other side of the deal that you're excited to, I get to deal with Cody again, right? And you call him up, Cody, I'm gonna have an offer, and you're excited to be able to put something together. So yeah, not to sound like a broken record, but it's the relationships in this business that I think keep everything fresh and exciting, and keep you happy with your decision to get into this industry.
Yeah, I think I kind of was telling your dad and mom there, like I'm kind of envious that you guys get to work together all day, every day. At the same time, I think my wife probably sometimes enjoys the break that she gets from me. But there's been times where I'm like, hey, I gotta go, and like the kids are just driving her nuts or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think in that point in time, she wished that like I had a job that I resented. She's like, you just get to go talk and hang out with your friends all day, basically, right? And I think we're really good at selling the upside of it. Obviously, there's some challenges that come in the business too, but like anything, if we focus on the positives and not so much dwell on the negatives, then that's the key to longevity in
Right.
it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you guys have kind of worked together and then not worked together, but even when you were at different companies, because Next Gen is just something that has come together officially over the course of the last year here. But you guys were at different companies. You were at the same companies, went apart, came back. Now everybody's all under one roof, but the family was actually at 3 different companies not too long ago. What was it like working with each other, then apart, and now back together?
To be honest, I didn't really notice a huge difference. When I started out, we were at the same company, Dad and Sue and I, for my first 10 years.
Yep.
And then, I switched companies, and nothing much really changed in that regard. Like, I think,
I agree.
they went away, and I made that very clear when I was thinking about switching, and I was meeting with the broker at my previous brokerage. I said, look, if I come over, I still need to be able to help Dad and Sue. If they go away and, they need me to take care of their business and I sell something, I don't want it to be that, oh, hey, this is now my new brokerage's deal. I'm like, no, this is still Dad and Sue.
Yeah.
Like, and they're going to do the same thing to me. I don't want you to think that I'm not asking somebody in our new brokerage to help out. Like, I have my Dad and Sue, and they're my people, and, they're going to help me. I'm going to help them. And it was never a problem. So I don't think I really noticed it was maybe not seeing each other around the office
Yeah, there wasn't any separation, and it was just different because when someone's take care of your business, it's usually someone at your brokerage that takes care of your business. So it was kind of different, but it didn't really make any difference to us. When we went away, Eric took care of it. When he went away, or if he needed one of us to show it. So we really weren't. We were at different companies, but we were still kind of together. Like we weren't separated, and we helped each other out. Whether if he had to take the kids to hockey or soccer, and he'd say, Dad, can you show? Yeah. He was gone away to Florida for our daughter's cheerleading competition, and a couple showings came up, and so we really weren't. We were apart, but we weren't really apart. So it was just we were at different companies and still doing the same thing, and it's nicer now that we're all together. It just makes it easier, but we were never really separated. We were just kind of at different companies doing the same thing as we always did, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you kind of carved your own path for a little bit. Probably learned a lot of different things, like having been at an independent and then part of a franchise. You kind of saw both sides of the coin in that regard. But now we're all together. So how are our dynamics? Are we one big happy family, or are we?
I couldn't be happier. I think it's gone phenomenally well. It was a big leap, right? I mean, they had been where they were previously for a long time. I was, happy and comfortable where I was, and I think we kind of circled the wagons for a while.
And we dated for like a year,
trying to decide like what we were going to do, and
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to leave, but we wanted to do this, and it was kind of just finally we said, you know what, this needs to happen. It's too good of an opportunity to pass up to get this team established and going, and we haven't looked back. It's been great. I feel reinvigorated, right? I enjoy coming into the office and, having our office together and seeing Dad in there, seeing Sue or Erica, and seeing everyone at the monthly or the weekly meetings. And it's just been being able to, bounce ideas off each other, but have it within the office and the group. It's been tremendous.
Yeah, it was a really easy transition for all of us. It was a hard decision for Sue and I to make. Sue was 28 years, I think, at the previous, and I was there probably 15.
Yeah.
Built some great relationships and great people, and got nothing bad to say about them. It just, we needed a change, and we wanted to all get together, and it's been very smooth. You've made it a very easy transition for us. Anything we needed or wanted, it was like right away it was taken care of, and that's something that we really truly appreciate. And not that we needed a lot of stuff, but whenever we reach out, the phone, we text you or call you, you're right on it, and that's important. That I'm one of them guys that when you call me, I answer the phone, and if I don't,
You get a call back.
I'm calling you back within 5 minutes, and I'm texting you saying, listen, I'm on the other line. I can't talk right now, but within 5 minutes. And that's a big thing. That's one of my pet peeves in this business, is that some agents don't do that. And it's to me, it's frustrating. When I call somebody, I'm hoping to get a call back within, 10, 15, 20 minutes, even an hour. But when sometimes it takes a day or something, it's just frustrating to me. And I'm just the way I am. You call me, you text me, you're getting an answer. And our builder who we work with says the same thing. Boy, you're the fastest guy to answer calls. But I got a cell phone and I get a text, I can answer right away. It's not like I get the text right away, so my phone's right there, so I might as well answer you, and I do. And I find that's been, and I've gotten listings from that where, I've got calls from clients that were referred from a lawyer, and they said they referred three agents. Well, they called the first one, they didn't answer. They called the second one, they didn't answer, and then they called me, and I answered. They said, okay, we're going to list with you. We're going to list with you. So I think it's an important thing, and I've taught that to my kids too. Like, you got a phone. If someone texts you, whether it's a client or not, or even someone just asking questions, you need to return that call as soon as possible.
Be responsive.
And they will appreciate that. And it may not get business from it, but it's just, you look good. It makes you look good, and the company look good. And that's something that I'm very particular on. So
yeah.
Well, and like we were just talking about, it's a high emotion industry. So when someone's like upset or confused or feels like they need advice, if they're calling you, they probably need some easing right away.
Yeah,
right?
they don't want to sit around and wait and
Yeah.
let their mind wander and, let those thoughts kind of take over, right? You want to be able to have a conversation and take care of it right away.
Yep. So it's cool watching the dynamics of you guys. Obviously, I worked with my dad, and we're still working in the company too. It's just we have different roles now. We're not partners like we used to be. So I love watching you guys being in a partnership now, almost as your team's developing, and it's kind of cool because like Eric, you've tried to take the approach of, I want to learn about all types of properties and industries and things like that. Randy, you know your sweet spot. You know what you're really good with. You love people. And so I think naturally a lot of people will go, okay, well, Eric, you can learn so much from your dad in this industry. And obviously you have. But I think it's cool that, Randy, you're humble enough to go, no, I got a lot that I can learn from Eric and Erica too. Do you guys want to speak to that maybe a little bit? What you both bring to the table to strengthen each other?
Yeah, you want me to go first? I mean, I think it's the coolest thing in the world when Dad or Sue calls me with a question and is looking to me for help or advice. I mean, you would know too, growing up your whole life, you're relying on your parents, and to get to a spot where they're calling you and you know that they respect and value your opinion enough to say, hey, what do you think? And then actually take that advice or listen to it, or even just take it under consideration.
Yeah.
I love that. Gives me goosebumps every time almost, right? It's pretty cool. So to see that and have that dynamic even more now, to know that, we're together as a team, and it's not just they're leading and we follow, that it's all kind of a
Equal voice.
Yeah. And a teamwork, and we're all, like you said, equal voices. And I think it's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah. And I mean, normally you're always asking financial advice of your parents, right? But when you're in a partnership and a team like this, we're making financial decisions together.
Yeah.
As a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. And like, I don't, like, I've been doing it 33 years. Doesn't mean I'm better than them. I may have more experiences, but we're equals. Like, there's no, like, Sue, myself, Erica, Eric, we're all the same. We're equal. And, I'm maybe better at some stuff. He's better at other stuff. And we just kind of just help each other. And that's awesome. I think it's an awesome thing. And, that I can learn from him. She can learn from me. Even like Sue, like, there's stuff that she tells me and that I didn't know. And we learn from each other. So it's kind of like a great dynamic for the whole family to kind of, just help each other out through, because there is struggles in this business. It's not all great times. There's always stuff. There's, things that you have to take care of.
Yeah.
And you say, listen, what should I do here? And, we'll ask Eric, I'll ask Sue, I'll ask Erica, and then kind of make a decision based on what we think the best thing is for the client, or the best thing to do to help everybody out. And it's pretty awesome to be able to do that, because a lot of people don't have family that's in the business. So, other agents may be coming to you to ask those kind of questions, right? Because they need someone that's in the business. You're the broker of record. What would you do in this situation, where we can do it here as well as you, and ask you if there's a problem that needs to be rectified? And it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Okay, so I'm going to change up the questioning here a little bit and the topic a little bit.
Okay.
You guys have obviously helped a ton of families over the years. This is the Everything Real Estate show. So as much as the conversation so far has been being in sales in real estate, and we've also been exploring, teaming up, partnerships within family, all that kind of stuff. Another direction I kind of want to talk about is, how have you seen owning real estate benefit all the different families that you've helped over the years? And Eric, I know you've dabbled a little bit more in the investment side of it. Randy and Sue, you guys have moved, a bunch of times I think you've moved twice just in the last 5 years, haven't you? How have you seen real estate ownership benefit your own families, and then the families that you've been assisting over the years as clientele?
Yeah, it's funny, when Sue and I got together, we bought our first house, and I said to her, she was a mover. She moved probably 15 times, and I'm not a mover. And I said to her, we better find a house we like that we can raise our family in. And we did. We were, our first house together, we were there 16 years.
Oh, awesome.
And raised our family, and, had our parents, had Sue's mom live with us, had my mom and dad live with us for probably 6 years. Sue's mom was probably about 6 years. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then, as they transitioned in, her mom's in a retirement home, and my mom and dad ended up getting a place at Solidarity, which is nice. But then we decided we wanted a smaller house or a ranch, and we ended up building a new house. But it was just,
they downsized to a bigger home.
Yeah, it was just a little bit too big for us. Our builders built us a home, and it was beautiful. I mean, they did a fantastic job, and we lived there probably, I think, 3 years. I think we lived there 4 years, and we just decided, let's get something a little bit smaller and a little bit closer to her best friend who lives 252 steps from us.
250.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we ended up moving twice in 4 years, but I think we're here for a little while now. We bought a nice little ranch and made it our own.
Eric's shaking his head.
Yeah, probably not. Well, our next one will probably be a townhome or a condo. But as far as the investments, we've got a few. We got one with Eric, and we own probably 4 houses. But it's been a very good thing for us to own them houses. It's been very rewarding, and we've enjoyed it. But he's done more of the investing that's something that he's really good at. So I'll let him.
Well, from
share.
that, real quick before we get to Eric, the thing that I gather from that probably is stability. So I didn't know that you've had 3 parents live in your home with you also. So obviously, like it's been a full house, right? 3 generations for multiple years, and both sides of the family too. Like, so obviously, the home has been like the stable place where we raise, but we also take care of each other too. I guess that would probably come across in your sales career too, where you're like, hey, you know what, this isn't just a home, it's not just a place that you're renting. It's not like you're the nester. So it's been a place of, I don't know what the right way to say it is. It's been your home base. It's been your, where you feel at home. Obviously you got lots of memories. You like making memories in one place, but it's given you stability, I guess, as a household is probably the way I can best put it. Have you seen that kind of come through in your sales career too, with all the families that you're working with?
Yeah, and it did, because like my mom was in the real estate at the time when she was living with us. So, we had 3 of us that we could, throw ideas off, and just like we're doing now with the kids, so it made it, we had lots to talk about besides family stuff, business stuff. So it was kind of cool that we were able to do that. And it was wonderful. It was nice having them years with our parents, because, they're not here forever. So it was nice being able to spend that time with them.
Yeah.
And then now we're just spending the time and working hard with our kids, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll flip it over to Eric now. I guess how has ownership affected your life, and how have you seen it affect your clients' lives also?
Yeah, I'll start with clients. I mean, it's especially when I started in the business, I was 24, 23, I think. And it was primarily first-time home buyers, right? So 90% of the deals I did were first-time home buyers, and walking them through the steps from start to finish. And I can't count how you probably went through the same thing, where I get calls from friends of mine from school or sports or whatever. And it's like, we want to buy a house. We don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
We were never taught any of this. We don't know what to do, right? And
who do we call first, you or the bank? Or
exactly. And just to meet with them and walk them through the whole process, and then see to the finish line when they finally find a place and they get in and they're so excited, and seeing how home ownership changes your life, and it gets you in the real estate game, and especially nowadays, right? I mean, with pricing what it is, it's a challenge to get into owning a home, right? So everyone that I helped previously buy a house, and who is now that much more ahead, it's rewarding, and you get to see, you transition to the point in your career where now you're getting calls from those people that you sold their first house to, and they're now married or having kids, or they're, now they're upsizing. So you're selling that one and buying them their, next home or their forever home, and just seeing them through that whole transition, and, how, again, back to what's happened in the last, decade, where they bought a home and now they've got so much equity, and it allows them to, buy investments or pay for a wedding, or, fund education or whatever, right? But just knowing that you were part of that and helping them secure, the home that they wanted, and how well it's turned out for them.
I think secure's the word that I really like there, right?
Yeah.
So like if we're renting a home and all of a sudden our landlord, ups and decides that they want to move to Costa Rica, and they're selling everything they own in Canada. Well, I might have been planning, the neighborhood that I was living in based on where I wanted my kids to go to school, the drive to work, all that kind of stuff. But if the landlord's selling the home, I might all of a sudden have to move out if the new owner is going to be moving into the home and things like that. So one thing that I've enjoyed seeing is the security, and kind of just what I was talking about Randy with there, is it ends up being that that home base, that security, that I forget what the word that I used was.
Stability.
Stability. Yeah. I've seen it give stability where you might not have that if you don't own where you live.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to speak to myself and my wife and our family with owning real estate, we've done a lot and been fortunate. We've flipped houses, we've done ADU conversions, we've severed lots and sold those. The Burr method. We had a house in Florida for a few years. We have the one rental property with Dad and Sue. It's been great. It's given us stability. It's given us income. It's given us large amounts of income at certain times when you sell it, and allowed us to pay for things and do things and give our kids probably more than what they need. But it's secure. Like
I was sorry to interrupt you, but just on the note of family and kids and things like that. So a relative of my wife's, they were looking at buying a home for their daughter to live in while she goes to university. And obviously, like, residence is really expensive. Paying rent anywhere, they're kind of like, well, you know what, Windsor's a fairly affordable market, compared to others.
Yep.
So why don't we just buy a house? And then so when we were talking through the process, they said, well, just keep in mind we got to sell it in 3 years. And I was like, I don't know if I would go in with that attitude. I think you want to be able to sell it in 3 years if that's the plan. But I was like, you guys have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Right? Owning this home, it might just seem like right now it's 3 years while so-and-so goes to school, but you might end up having 2 kids living in there. And long term, you might end up having 3 kids in there.
Right.
Or you might end up going, you know what? This has been a good opportunity to introduce them to responsibility and adulthood and all that kind of stuff too. And so I've kind of had the attitude, and I'm talking this scenario through in my head, and I've bounced it off a lot of people, that it might be a good idea to start buying rental homes and then add your kids to title when they're of age, like 18 years old, but refinance it when you add them so that you pull out your equity. So it was your investment up until they were able. But the idea being, it's probably going to be cheaper now than it will be in 10, 20 years
Right.
to get our kids into housing. And inevitably, as they get more expensive, I think more and more parents and grandparents are going to have to help with that initially.
Yeah.
Why not buy a rental house for each child that you have? And we're not just going to, give them hundreds of thousands of dollars, because most people can't afford to do that. They got to plan for their own retirement and their well-being and their future too. But what if we, put them on title at 18, refinance the house at that point and say, you know what, Junior, this is going to be a project. We're business partners now. And this is how my dad and I got started in investing in real estate, is we did it as a partnership. And so, okay, you got to understand that, when the house needs maintenance, we got to have cash aside so that we can do the maintenance. So you got to, act responsibly within your household now, live within your means, because now we got to take care of another property together too. And so all of a sudden we had to start making financial decisions together, right? And so if I went and, financed a boat and a camper and a Harley, and then all of a sudden we had to do work on the property and we couldn't afford to refinance it, well, now, I'm acting outside of my means, and it's
Right.
affecting our business relationship, right? So I thought, well, what a cool way to introduce kids into home ownership, into owning and running a business. If we, put them on title, we own it with them. You may or may not ask them to, invest initially, but moving forward, you better start saving your money so that when the house does need a roof, we're going to plan on it, doing it together. And eventually, I'm going to take my name off title. I'm going to want my money back that I put into it so that I can take care of, me and Mom as we move into, our later years in life too. So we're going to refinance on the way out and then take my name off title and just have you on title, Junior. And you know what? You can keep that home as a rental. You can move into it. You can, make it a home for your future family. Sorry. I'm just
I love that idea.
verbal
I think, yeah,
processing this whole thing in my life right now. Because a lot of people are like, well, I can't just afford to buy a house and give it to my kids. I think there's a cool way that you can,
Right.
I think you're gonna have to help them more along. That's where we're finding more kids
Yeah.
can't afford, $400,000 or $500,000 mortgage, so they need their parents or their grandparents to kind of help them out. And like, it's luckily our 5 kids all have homes, but it's my grandkids I worry about. Like, my grandkids are going to be coming up, and like the market that we're in right now, they can't afford to buy a house. They may not be able to afford it. So that's where Dad or Mom or Grandma and Grandpa or Nana and Papa have to, step up and try and help them get in there. Because I believe for them to be successful for their life, they need to be in a home, if they want to get some equity and grow, get some money that they can be able to do stuff. If they don't have a house, if they're renting and just that money's going out the window and they're not getting anything out of it. So if we can help them, whether it's with the down payment or whether we have to co-sign or whether we, like you said, we buy a place as a rental or buy a place for the kids to live and then pass it on to them as we get older, let them, it teaches them, because they don't get taught that stuff in school, and it kind of teaches, it kind of helps them learn, and that way they can be successful for the rest of their lives. And you're not just paying somebody like a landlord, $2,100 or $2,500 a month and not getting anything out of it. And so, and I think that's the times we're in right now. Like 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. We were really affordable. Like things were 200,000 or 90,000 or 100,000. Well, those days are gone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And obviously, like, there's nothing wrong with renting for a period of time, but for that long term, I feel like the word we're going to keep staying here is stability.
Security and stability. Yeah.
Yeah. If you really want to, be able to set down roots and set them deep, then having a home that you own helps. So like for a short period of time, I think a rental is a great thing as we're, building up our credit and trying to plan where we want to live long term, all that kind of stuff. But ideally, if you're going to set down roots and raise kids and you want to stay in the same busing district all the time, it helps. Sorry, so I interrupted you there. Let's talk about numbers. So you're the investing guy. You like all the spreadsheets. Why don't we talk about how you've helped your clients with investment properties and some of the opportunities that you see, even in this market where obviously prices have increased a lot and we don't see them going down necessarily to what they were.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see those clients. It's slowed down a lot. I mean, obviously the last couple years, good deals are hard to come across.
Like a cash flowing deal.
Yeah, but previously, I had a lot of clients from out of town who were, taking money off of a HELOC, or I had a couple who had, nice large bonuses from work, and they were looking to invest. So duplexes or ADUs or, flips or BRRRRs. It's there were a lot of good opportunities, and I've seen a lot of, my business blew up with investing and having investor clients, right? Because if you look at the regular, home buyer, they're, what is it? I think every 7 years average they transact.
Yeah.
So
and usually on high emotion.
Right.
Right. So
yeah, and it's sometimes those are either good or bad scenarios. But I've had investors buy 5 houses in a year.
Yeah. So it came down to numbers, obviously.
And they're just purely, and a lot of them were, maybe they didn't even necessarily see the house. They would trust me to go through the house, and a lot of times I would have them on FaceTime, or I'd do a video, and we'd run the numbers, and it was not emotional. It was purely, do the numbers make sense? What's my cash on cash return? What's my cash flow? What's the cap rate? What's how can we bring this to the highest and best use? What is it? What's the ARV? And it was definitely an incredible time, especially during those few years, to see clients and what they were able to accomplish and gain. And, I use a system that sends emails each month, home equity reports, essentially.
Oh, cool.
And I'm able to track up to 6 properties on there. So a lot of my investors that I have set up have 3 or 4 or 5 or even 6 properties that are being tracked, and to see each month, have that report go out and see what their portfolio is worth and how much it's grown. And, it's mind blowing to see some of those success stories sometimes. And
that's interesting, because like as a stock trader, it can be a really bad thing. You can be in a really, really good mood one day and a terrible mood the next day if you're watching your portfolio by the second. But that's one thing with housing, is because it's not liquid and traded and tracked like obviously the stock market is. You don't always necessarily know what your equity actually looks like until you get an appraisal or a refinance, your mortgage is up for renewal. That's pretty interesting.
People love it. I have 90 or 100 people set up on it, and every month it goes out, and it's not the most accurate all the time. Sometimes I go in and adjust them, but to have it go out and have them just be able to open it up monthly if they want, or, some people open it up every month religiously. Some people open it up 5 or 6 times throughout the month. Some people open it up every 6 months.
Yeah.
But just that they can always just say, hey, what's the value of my home currently? How much equity do I have?
Yep.
How much has it grown? And you're right. There's been more times than not in the last 2 years where maybe it's, your value's gone down by $4,000 this month, but you can see that overall you're up $200,000 from where you purchased, right? Or, the investors see that the portfolio is at $3 million.
Yeah.
Right. It was really cool to see. And I love working with investors. I love running the numbers. I love, the ins and outs of it.
And then unlike stocks, if I open my stock portfolio and see that it's gone down, even if the value of my underlying asset in real estate has gone down, the tenants were still paying me rent and the
Right.
rent still paid the mortgage. So I'm still paying down that principal balance, even if I don't get the appreciation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're still getting, if there's no natural appreciation, you're still getting mortgage pay down. You're still getting hopefully some cash flow.
Yep.
Right. And it's not so terrifying to look and say, oh, the value of my house went down $4,000 last month, but I also paid down $1,500 on the mortgage and I cash flowed $600. Right. So
Yep.
it's not going to go down every month, but my cash flow and my mortgage pay down is pretty consistent.
Cool. All right. So next gen, what does that mean to both of you guys? Why did we pick that team name?
I think it just kind of naturally flowed, right? I mean, like I said, third generation realtor.
Do the kids have an option for career choices?
Yeah. I mean, who knows, right? It's part of me would love to see them follow my footsteps. And the other part thinks, I like to see a kind of blaze your own trail and
Yeah.
do your own thing, but they enjoy coming to showings with me. And I mean, I have a picture of my daughter that I showed Dad and Sue of. I was doing a showing at one of our new builds, and well, she loved an empty house, and I got a picture of her doing cartwheels and backflips, and
Yeah.
in the empty living room, and they enjoy coming through, and I don't know, possibly a fourth generation, but I think next gen was just natural, right? It's kind of, it makes a lot of sense. It flows well. I think it's a good name. We can, very much relate to it.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was just, we were looking for a name and, we picked out a few and this one just came and it was just like, yeah, this is it. We all thought, yeah, this is it. Like Sue liked it and Erica liked it. Eric liked it. I liked it. And I said, like, there's no better name that I can think of. It's kind of next gen. We're all together and it
Tells
just
the
kind of
story.
makes sense. It's
Yeah.
kind of made sense. So, and it just kind of,
Yeah, and I think it flows in more ways than one too, right? I mean, you've got obviously the generational, real estate agent, but it also makes sense with, their methods. They have so much experience, but they do things differently than we do, right? So you've got, different generations worth of, technological experience, and Eric and I maybe bring some more new school tactics or knowledge with internet and social media and online stuff, but then they've got their more old school techniques that really work, and we can just kind of blend them together and
Time tested.
yeah, almost the best of both worlds, right? You're not just getting a brand new agent who has no people skills but is purely relying on social media or what have you, but then you're also not getting he looks good, but you're not getting some old dinosaur who is just set in his ways and doesn't have any knowledge of the newer technology and things that are available. So I do. I think it's the best of both worlds. I think we blend it seamlessly. I think, as we talked about earlier, we help each other out all the time, right? So whether it's me getting advice on some of the the tried and true methods and how to handle things, or relying on their experience, they rely on us for some of these newer, more technological things, or whatever. So it's, I think
we covered all. Like, luckily between the four of us, if there's an issue or there's something we have to do and maybe I don't know it or maybe Eric doesn't know it, one of us knows it and we can, get over the hurdle that needs to be taken care of, whether, so that's the best thing. Cause we got between us, there's like 80 years of
Experience.
real estate experience and that's a lot, boy, I feel old, but it's a lot, and so but it's been a really learning experience for Sue and I to watch Erica and Eric what they do and how they do it, because it's different than us. So it's kind of, we're learning off each other, and it's kind of cool, you know?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I agree. It's the best of both worlds.
All right. Well, you know what? I think that's a great place to wrap it up right there. I think it's been really cool to watch the whole process of this coming together. I love the team name. I love the dynamics, and we're blessed to have you guys around the office. And I think it's just awesome seeing what you're doing. Love all the big smiles every day, the
Yeah.
whole family approach, the team approach, and yeah, thank you for coming on and sharing that with everybody today. And it's
Thank you.
pretty
We
awesome to
appreciate you
watch.
having us
Yeah.
on, and appreciate you taking us on. It's been a great transition for all of us. So we really
Yeah.
appreciate you.
To flip it around on you briefly, we can't say enough about the person and leader you are, and we're so happy with this. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts, and everyone on the team. It's been awesome.
Well, appreciate that.
Yeah.
It takes a village, that's for sure. I think that's the conversation that we were having earlier, right? But no, I can't say enough good things about the people that we have at our office that
Absolutely.
help do everything that we do. So
100%. Yeah.
We agree.
thanks for listening to the show, folks. Please keep in mind that this show is not offering legal, financial, or accounting advice, but rather opinions and experiences in the world of real estate from the host and the guests. If you're enjoying the show, please rate, review, and share with your friends and colleagues. And if you think that there's someone that needs to be on this show, please feel free to connect them with me. Or if there's a topic that should be discussed, feel free to let me know. Thank you so much, and bye for now.